when that 5-hour drive turned into an 8-hour drive. So I'm probably going to do some yoga tonight, some stretching, because my back is backing.
Because you old.
Yeah, true.
We haven't done this game in a while, but we could do the guess Kev's age in the chat.
Yeah. People are start getting close because they're coming in fast and furious. The grades are coming in.
So are mine.
I might go LeBron, might paint it, see what it looked like.
But, yeah, man. So, well, the Bengals 16-14. Like I said, I don't really care about the score. Everyone cared about the beginning of that matchup. And I said yesterday, I do not think, and I talked about this with Keith Byers on his show, because when he was in the NFL for 13 years, he was part of joint practices and preseason games as well. And I said, I feel like preseason games are pointless. I feel like you would get more out of joint practices. And he said, oh, you definitely get more out of a joint practice. There's a little bit more, coaches could be more hands-on. If it's your head coach could talk to the other team's head coach and, hey, let's do that over. I want to simulate that again. Hey, bring more pressure off this side. We're looking to, so he said he feels like he got more, that the coaches and the team as a whole get more out of the joint practices, but he got a lot out of preseason, just kind of getting in the flow of just a game day type of rhythm. But Joe Burrow and the Bengals, Joe Burrow being as injury prone as he is, I still, every year around this time, I get why Zach Taylor's doing it, wants to play starters, trying to find any kind of rhythm to get associated with, to get off to a better start. Even last year, they were 2-0, but it was the weirdest 2-0 start ever. They looked horrible in their 2-0 start. Joe Burrow goes out in week 2 against Jacksonville, of course. But with Joe Burrow, and in such an important season coming up, you throw him out there, you hand it off a bunch, a little dink and dunk. I just don't see how any of that is valuable, especially at the risk of what could come if he gets hurt and being injury prone the way he is. I just wanted to put him out there. I just don't see, last time watching that, I'm like, how are the Bengals any better today than they were yesterday morning by throwing him and that first team offense out there?
Yeah, I totally get it, especially when you're talking about a quarterback like Joe Burrow, or even you think about, in the team that I follow, Aaron Rodgers. When you have so many years underneath your belt and things like that, you kind of just want to put your guys in plaster wrap and get them to September to play the real games, because the absolute worst thing in the world is to have your star player, especially quarterback, injured in literally a meaningless game. It means a ton for, the rookies and people that are trying to make the squad. But in today's NFL, there's not a lot of position battles. I remember as a kid, they would have like position battles. It'd be like 10 spots up for grabs. But nowadays in the NFL, there's maybe like 2 or 3 per team, and to make the actual squad. And then there's like lower tier situations where guys are trying to basically, make the practice squad. A lot of these rosters are spoken for. So like you're not really getting anything out of the preseason game. Obviously, back in the day it was 4, now it's 2 preseason games and things of that nature. Back in the day, like, hey man, the 3rd preseason game, that's the one that really matters. This is the one where, starters are going to play the entire first half, work up a good sweat, get into a rhythm and things like that. But with preseason only being 2 weeks now, it ends, and now you basically have like 2.5 weeks before the actual season starts. So like
it's still 3 games, right?
No, I thought it was only 2.
I think it's still 3.
Okay, I may be mistaken.
But
like the
ramp
up to the actual real games, you get a lull. You get like 2 weeks off. So like, just say there was a ramp up and like, all right, man, we broke a sweat. We're gonna go into the regular season now. Don't you add that rust back when you're not actually getting quote unquote game reps against another team, reps against a different opponent? I think it does more for your mental than it actually does for anything else. But, when you have a situation like the Cincinnati Bengals, you rolled out there with what? Flacco played, Burrow played, Josh Johnson played,
Sean Clifford.
So you rolled out there with 4 different quarterbacks. Hey, man, it'll probably been more important for Josh Johnson and Sean Clifford to go get the reps, because those are the guys that are in jeopardy of making or not making the team, because we all know Burrow's going to make the team. We know Flacco's going to be the backup. Hey, man, we need to see. You might don't even need to see what Josh Johnson has, because Josh Johnson has played for basically every team in the NFL, so he knows every playbook imaginable. So Sean Clifford's really the one. Is he going to make the team or not?
Yeah, and that's the thing. And look, yes, is it generic? Joe Burrow gets injured a lot, but it's the case for T and Jamar and really anybody. My thing is this: like every team and situation is different. If there were brand new wide receivers that needed to get acclimated with Joe Burrow, okay, fine. Throw them out there for a series or two. Joe and Jamar go all the way back to LSU. Joe and T have played together for 6 straight seasons. They were both drafted together. Their rapport's fine. This is the first time that the offensive line is the same 5 fat guys up front as the same 5 fat guys from the previous season. So they're you know what I mean? Like he's fine. He got hit. He had a couple hard hits, including got sacked once for a loss of 9 yards against a rookie pass rusher, by the way, who blew right past Orlando Brown Jr. Orlando Brown Jr. needs to get his stuff together because
Zeus.
I thought years ago when they signed him, I thought that was a hell of a signing. I was like, oh, they went out, all this. They don't care about the offensive line. They went and got the best offensive line free agent that was available. Good for the Bengals. That was a good get. He was very, very good to start. I thought he was average last year, and there was question marks by the end. Like, a lot of Chiefs fans were making fun of Bengals fans saying that's why we didn't want him anymore. He was declining, which he was, but whatever. But that wasn't good yesterday to have one of your veteran star offensive linemen. They're ranked 24th in the league in offensive line spending. Most of the dollars, if you looked at the percentage, I think like 60% of that money is going to him. And he's one of their biggest concerns and problems, in my opinion. I didn't like that early on. But, yeah, Joe Burrow getting smacked the way he did, I didn't like that. I just think every team's different. I just don't think that he needs to be out there.
Yeah, I agree. I think that every team is different. Like you talked about, if you're a new quarterback, say you're a hot shot free agent or a rookie quarterback coming to a new team and everything like that, yeah, you probably need to be out there getting some reps. Or like last year in Aaron Rodgers situation, him coming to the Steelers, new team, new scheme, yada, 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 go get some reps. That didn't happen. But like for Aaron Rodgers this year, I don't necessarily think he needs reps in the preseason because this is the same offense that he ran for years under Mike McCarthy. And then also with DK and Pittman being banged up and being limited in practice, well, I'm not about to go out there and get any reps with the 3rd and 4th stringers. I'll just sit here and watch and let the young guys go out there. Yeah, every team is different. Every setup is different. I doubt that this year that you'll see Kansas City rolling with their first teamers out there because guys are getting older. Guys are coming off of injuries and things like that. So, yeah, it's a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, and I think and this is where Zach Taylor, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place because they get off to these slow starts every year. I know they were 2-0 last year. I still categorized it as a slow start because I thought Joe Burrow looked horrendous in week 1 against Cleveland. I don't think he looked great against Jacksonville before the injury. And the defense was bad. Like the team got off to a slow start, even with the 2-0 start, as weird as that sounds. So they're just trying to come out like, what do they have to do? What changes do they have to make to come out and look sharp? And it's a tough ask because I think most of the league doesn't look sharp to come out. But, the Chiefs always look, this team looks yeah, that's fine. But you got to find what works for you. So playing starters just to play starters, just to win the optics war, to me still says that they're not confident that they get off to that fast start. Because if you're confident you get off to that fast start, hey, I have faith in Joe, Jamar T. I have faith in this offensive line. We're not going to risk anyone getting hurt. We did see Dexter Lawrence last night. So it is what it is. No injuries. That's all that matters. Yeah. Got hit on a few times. But I am concerned about that offensive line. That was against the second stringers for like Detroit was starting nobody. They weren't.
They blitzed. Yeah, this is crazy. Kess is blitzing in the preseason
with second string because you got guys who are hungry who are trying to fight, earn a spot. I know you meant like there's still a lot of guys on the back end. Like preseason's more for the guys on the back end than the Joe Burrows and Jamar Chases of the world. In my opinion. Couple stats to update you on. Joe Flacco did get a lot of time yesterday as well. He had 8 pass attempts, completing 5 of those for 51 yards and a touchdown. Joe Burrow completed 5 of his 6 pass attempts for 39 yards. No touchdowns, did get hit. He got sacked once for a 9-yard loss, but had a couple hard hits as well. That's one thing, too, that Byers had talked about, like in those, joint practices, you're not getting as much. Yeah, like
you put on the little penny jersey, don't touch.
Yeah, you'll play your starters a lot against their starters, but the deal is, protect the ones that need to be protected or whatever. That's not in the preseason. This backup pass rusher is trying to make a name for himself. And man, if I can go lay the living snot out of Joe Burrow, I'm going to do it. As far as that goes, Sean Clifford, you mentioned, we talked about him. 1 for 3 for 2 yards. I mean, nothing
Penn State,
really.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And then Josh Johnson, 10-19. He ate the majority of the preseason time out there for 84 yards, no touchdowns. But the Bengals come out 16-14 on the defensive side. That's what everyone's wanting to keep an eye on. How about Kendall Milton? Forcing a fumble. Kendall Milton with the fumble lost. Joe Flacco dropped one. Josh Johnson, Jacob Bayer. I mean, there were a few drops nonetheless. But as far as the defense goes, Kev, I'm really curious. I want to see who gets to the quarterback because so much is made about the addition of Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence isn't a sack guy.
Right.
All right. So you go from Trey Hendrickson, NFL sack leader, or during one of his seasons there, but was amongst the NFL sack leaders consistently throughout his time in Cincinnati, but he had no help around him to get to the quarterback. Now you take that ability to get to the quarterback away, but you have a lot of guys that are capable of getting to the quarterback. One of those being Dexter Lawrence, who's one of the best at getting to the quarterback as far as hurries and pressures are concerned. He doesn't bring the quarterback down, though. So who's going to be the finisher? Who's going to be the guy that's going to benefit from playing alongside of Dexter Lawrence, which is why I thought the Bengals should have gone all out to keep Trey Hendrickson. Imagine Trey Hendrickson on one side, with Dexter Lawrence. I think that would have been money. Who's going to get to the quarterback last night as far as sacks are concerned? Chris Jenkins, we saw him get to the quarterback. Landon Robinson, late. Antoine Powell, Ryland, again, 2 total sacks. Really nothing stood out. You did get a pick off in the secondary, of course, but not a whole lot to base a one preseason game off of to see how much improved the defense is.
Yeah, Dexter Lawrence is really like that guy in the middle. He's a DT as opposed to an edge, stuffing the run and causing havoc and things like that. He's not a defensive tackle like Warren Sapp, because like Warren Sapp was a defensive tackle that got after the quarterback. That's not his game or what he's asked to do. But like you're obviously asking for, Stewart, last year's rookie, to make that impact. Obviously, he got hurt like basically on the first day of practice. I haven't even seen like an update on like his injury status or like how many weeks is he going to miss and things of that nature. But like, you move on from a high priced player like Henderson, expecting the draft picks to do what first round draft picks are expected to do, cause havoc and be, werewolves, for lack of a better word. And not pay him anything, is basically that cycle that happens in NFL. Like, hey man, we get this good player, young and cheap, so we don't have to pay him, so we can get rid of the older player that requires a lot of money.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. It's the Kinner and Kev Show here today on a Friday. I think we're gonna have Kinner and Kev Fridays. Maybe. I don't know. We got
fingers crossed.
Got to talk to the boss.
Those reports done.
Oh yeah, but Kinner and Kev Show here today on a Friday. Bengals last night, 16-14. I mean, nothing really. I mean, unless I'm missing something in the chat or text into the show, 937-518-1410, 937-518-1410. I don't think there was anything major to take away from last night. I guess my concerns, if you will, the offensive line getting pushed around by the backups for the Lions. Didn't like that. My concern about Joe Burrow playing in a meaningless preseason game. He's a veteran. I don't like seeing him out there at all, especially in the first preseason game. If you want to give him some time in that third and final one, just for that final, audition, if you will, before the regular season, fine. I just, whatever. He got hit a few times last night. Didn't like that. But overall, I didn't see anything. I mean, I don't think there's anything you saw last night that you could say, oh, they're definitively better here. They're definitively worse here. This guy's ready. This guy's not. We need to see more. It's the preseason, but it's all we have. It's all we have, nonetheless. There's more preseason to get to. Kev Nash's Steelers, former Buckeye Will Howard. I was excited about Will Howard last night. Was Kevin Nash. We'll talk about that. Plus, talked about battles in preseason. There is a battle going on in preseason. It's a QB battle in the preseason. A QB battle in Cleveland. Deshaun Watson starting preseason game number 1.
Big on.
Should we look too much into that? Is it a big deal that Deshaun is starting the first preseason game of the preseason? We'll get to all of that more when we come back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash here on a Friday. Don't go anywhere.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $3 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Save big money on ideal garage doors. Now at Menards. Replacing your garage door adds instant curb appeal and value to your home. It's the #1 home improvement project for return on investment. From traditional to modern styles, choose from our huge in-stock selection or design your own garage door in-store or on Menards.com. Plus, don't forget to view the weekly flyer and check out all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. That's 2,000 children every single day. It's a heart-wrenching reality that we can no longer ignore. Find the Children is a non-profit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted vehicle, running or not. Call 1-800-294-0222. We guarantee that you will receive the maximum tax deduction. We provide fast, free pickup with 24-hour response. Call 1-800-294-0222. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help find missing children and educational materials to teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators. Our recovery programs have a proven track record of reuniting kids with their families. It's time to act. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Help us build a world where every child is safe. Pick up the phone and call 1-800-294-0222. Together, we can bring these kids home safely. This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
It's a really big deal at JCPenney. This weekend only, $299 natural or lab-grown diamond and gold jewelry and watches. Luxury pieces, exceptional value. Yes, JCPenney. Valid 8/14 through 8/16. Exclusions apply. See stores or jcp.com for details.
From the people who brought you It's the Dog Park comes.
Your dog is limping, but she seems fine. Plus, you've heard they can fake it just to get what they want, so what's the deal now? You're being gaslit.
Protect your dog from injury and illness with Progressive Pet Insurance.
Oh, now she switched legs. What a diva.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Coverage subject to policy terms.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Now, back to the Justin Kidder Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
Nine 518-1410. You could text or call. Mr. Shaw says, hello, fellas. How you doing?
What up, though?
Hope you had a good vacation, Kev.
Got another one coming up.
Taking any calls is what he asked. Him and I haven't been getting along lately.
Oh, I'm just in time.
If you're wanting a shouting match, I'm not saying there will be, but some of his posts really irritated me yesterday. So, you know, the Reds have no chance of making the playoffs. They're 5 games back. They were 6 games back in September last year and made the playoffs. I was like, it was such a weird. He was so critical of the Reds. They just won a series and he was mad. I was like, you're mad when they win. You're mad when they lose. You're just mad. You're just angry. You're an angry elf.
So Hunter Green, right?
Gonzo.
He's another one.
Yeah. So that is unfortunate. Look, so Hunter Green out for the remainder of 26 and will miss all of 27. And not making light of it, but the silver lining is not only will Hunter Green miss all of 27, there's a good chance all of baseball misses 27. So not making light of it, but I mean, that's my kind of a spin is that, well, I think you're going to get as many innings next year out of Chase Burns as you do Hunter Green. So that's kind of how I view it. Maybe there will be a season, but it seems like every update that comes out about a salary cap and a floor that the Players Association is coming out and saying they will not even entertain. They will not even, if they won't even enter, it's not like, oh, they're open to a salary cap, but they're far apart on what a number is. They don't give a damn what the number is. You're not going to restrict what the players can make and this, that, the other. So that they and again, that's what they're saying now in August, but that's the whole reason that lockouts occur is because it's when their pockets start getting pinched a little. My problem with any Players Association is, think about this. When you're talking about a salary cap and you're restricting the earnings of what? 1% to 2% of the players in the league. We're going to go on a strike for the Shohei Ohtanis of the world, Mookie Betts of the world, the Elly De La Cruzes of the world, like the Ramirez's of the world. I have a problem with that. I have a problem. Like, if you truly are the Players Association that represents all players, there are way more players who are not impacted. But you're going to make so many guys go without a paycheck next year that are going to get paid pretty much the same amount coming out of it than before. We're going to go on strike for the Mookie Betts and for the Shoheis of the world. I don't like that. That's my problem with it. Don't pretend that you represent all the players. You're really just going to bat for the 1%ers of the league. That's the problem I have with it.
Sounds like America to me.
It's the most American thing ever. But it's just like, don't call yourself the Players Association. Just call yourself the Elite Players Association, because that's the only players you give a damn about.
But in the same breath, like a lot of that, not to get Reaganomics on you.
Ooh, here we go. It's a trickle down. We're going to get all political.
The trickle down actually does work in the Player Association, because, yes, if Justin Kenner is the Golden Glove guy and his jersey is selling out like crazy, and I'm just a guy, I'm just one of the guys on the team, just barely making the roster, I'm up and down between the minor leagues and everything like that, I too get a piece of those earnings as well, from the MLB side of things, because of the jersey sales, of endorsements and things like that. So like, it does come back to that, because their whole process is like, hey, if it's better for the guys at the top, the quote unquote trickle down will be to the lower tier guys and stuff like that. So I kind of understand it, but yes, Major League Baseball, it does have a issue. And I think the biggest issue it has is the haves are never going to give back to the have-nots. And it's not just the players, it's also the teams, because you think the Dodgers are concerned about, what happens in Cincinnati or what happens in Cleveland. Do you think the Yankees are concerned about what happens to those smaller market teams? They don't care. It's not happening. It's just going to keep on pushing and keep on keeping on, because those teams are able to generate more money in their market, and that's the only thing they care about. That's what makes the NFL so great. Yeah, the Cowboys generate so much money, but guess what? They still have to make the salary cap as just as much as the Cleveland Browns or the Cincinnati Bengals or the Green Bay Packers. Like, it don't matter how much extra money that you generate. Yeah, it goes to your personal bottom line as Jerry Jones, but it doesn't go to the Dallas Cowboys bottom line. You can't use those extra funds to buy extra players. You're operating by the same rules, and obviously the same thing goes in the NBA as well.
My thing is, I don't even care about a salary cap. I really don't. If the Cincinnati Reds are told you could only spend $240 million, oh darn, shoot. They haven't even spent over $150 million. So that, like, whatever cap you put on the Reds, it's not going to, like, they've never even come close to spending near the cap. So, or what an imaginary cap would be. So a cap doesn't do really anything. You're only telling the Dodgers you can't collect all the elite players like Pokemon cards anymore. Now,
so you're talking about a floor.
I think that, honestly, I wouldn't even, I actually don't think there's going to be a cap. I think I think you need a floor. I don't think the league needs a cap. The Reds need to be told they need to spend, like, so the most recent proposal was, I think, a $250 million salary cap. And then it was $172 or $173 million floor. Can you I mean, this Reds team right now with Elly De La Cruz and Hunter Green and Chase Burns and now Sal Stewart and all that, you think about your team frustrates me more than anything too, but the Reds are getting there where
you have 5 games back. I think we're 6 games back now.
And you have talent, and it's like, you'll win games, and the Reds are only 4 or 5 games under 500. It's not like they're horrendous, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, like, look how good we are. Well, look how much better you could be. Imagine your team, and I think yours sitting about 90. Imagine 80 million more.
But my whole thing about a floor is, sometimes you put in a position where you just have to pay somebody to get to the floor, and then you end up with a situation where like, hey man, I'm paying player X all this money and this player isn't worth it.
Yeah.
And like that's the other side of it. Like, so like y'all use myself for instance, like, hey man, we need a free agent shortstop. Well, he's okay, but we got to hit the floor. So I guess we got to pay him this amount of money. I think you run into situations that you run into in the NBA where you're looking at guys like back in the day with the Supermax and everything like that. Just because you're eligible for a Supermax doesn't make you a Supermax player. Like John Wall. I never thought John Wall was a Supermax player, but he's eligible.
Moskoff.
Yeah, he's eligible for said Supermax. So you have to give him said Supermax. And now you have the backlash from fans saying, well, he's making this amount of money. Why is he making this amount of money? Well, it was either pay him X amount of money or have him walk. And then in this situation in Major League Baseball, it's like, well, we had to meet a imaginary cap floor number. So we had to overpay this guy that isn't actually even worth it.
And of all the problems, though, I take that problem. If our problem is that, again, if our problem is our team is spending too much money, then let them spend too much money. But at least you can't say, like, I don't think your fan base can end the season saying our front office did everything they could to help us win. Your front office does a great job. They draft well. They develop well. Okay. That's why, like, when I start crapping on the Guardians organization, everyone's like, what are you talking about? All they do is win. I'm like, yes, but they don't invest into the roster. They are bottom 5 in spending in the roster every single year. And they're like, well, who cares? They're winning. And I'm like, that's what makes it worse to me. It's like with, it's like when they got to the American League Championship Series, or almost got to the American League Championship Series years ago. Well, look how competitive they are in the playoffs. I'm like, look how much better they would be if they weren't in the bottom 5. I'm not even asking the Guardians to be top 10. I mean, be 20th every once in a while. Get to flirt with 17. Hell, go all in and be 15. But and spending money doesn't guarantee anything. But man, as a fan, you can't be bottom 5 in spending every year, winning, falling short in the wild card, or getting to within a game or two of a World Series and expect me to be just happy with that because you could have done more. If the player could do more, if the manager could do more, owner and GM could do more. So that's where I'm at. I think the floor is much more needed because I think that the problem is you have too many teams sitting back and just not doing anything. I think your team would benefit greatly from a floor. Now, do ownership, but, and that's the thing too. Well, some owners aren't built like that. Then get the owners that can. Get the owners that can. Get the shady guy from the Clippers to buy the Reds.
I mean, the Guardians are owned by the Dolan family, and obviously the Dolan family owns, the Knicks, and the Knicks won an NBA championship, and the first thing out of his mouth was like, we're not going over the luxury tax. And now you're starting to see that team fall apart. You see things like OKC starting to lose players like Lou Dort and things like that because teams refuse to go into the luxury tax. You see what happened with the Celtics. They had to make a decision between Tatum and Brown because they weren't going to go over the luxury tax. So like, yeah, it's a wicked game, man. It's a wicked game. Like it's you look at a team like OKC, it's like they're being punished for, finding players, developing players, and those players exceeding expectations and becoming superstars. When you're a superstar, you're owed X amount of dollars and you can't pay them. So then you have to, leave the organization that you developed with and go to the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah. And there's not a perfect solution out there, but this one's not perfect either. Like, I don't care about how many competitive smaller market teams there are. They're not championship competitive. And that's the problem I have. Like, I'm sorry, but a success story is not, the Reds are a March Madness Cinderella team every year. Well, look at the Pirates, how cute and competitive they were this year. And look at the Rays, look what they do. Okay, great. But the Rays are like the only team that's operating like that. Could do more, but either way, I want to go back to the preseason for NFL because I always tell the Reds, just get me into August, and they've done that. But nonetheless, we talked about the Bengals opener last night, preseason opener, if you will. I just said, hey, I don't really have any major takeaways from last night. My takeaway was heading in. I don't think Joe Burrow should step foot on that preseason field. I think it's pointless. I don't think that there's a single thing that you benefit from with him stepping foot out there on a preseason field, and anything that you can try to come up with does not outweigh the risk of him going down with an injury and knowing his injury history and how injury prone he is. It's just not a risk that I'm willing to take. But Zach Taylor and the Bengals, they got away with it last night. Couple hard hits. No major takeaways. I guess the offensive line, I'm still not sold on. I mean, so many people are making a big deal. Last year they were sneaky good. Well, last night they were obviously bad. There's no sneaky about it. Orlando Brown Jr. going up against the second tier guys for the Lions and getting smacked around like that. I wasn't a fan of that. I just thought that was kind of silly. But whatever. If they played well, I would say, well, hold on, it's the preseason, but they're playing poorly. So obviously that sticks. I never know how to evaluate preseason, because if it's good, it's the Kev Nash route, which we'll get to. Well, it's just preseason. But if you're bad in preseason, it's, oh my God. If you're bad, you're bad in preseason. If you're good in preseason, it's just preseason, right? Those are the rules.
That's how I
All
operate.
right.
That's 100% how I operate. Just like where the NFL Combine or pro days, especially pro days, if you stink at your pro day, then that's crazy alarming. Crazy alarming. If you're good at your pro day, okay, you did what you're supposed to do. But if you're bad at your pro day, I'm not touching you with 10-foot pole.
That's a pretty controllable environment. You could pick your receivers.
Yep.
You can do it at your home field. Like, there's a lot of comfort around you. And you're right. Like, that's the most comfortable you be before you get to the actual combine and everything else, where you're out of your element a little bit. Either way. So Shaw says, same questions that we have, that we've been asking for a while with the Bengals: offensive line issues and the lack of pressure from the defense. Yeah, still not sold on the offensive line, just because it's the same guys from last year. This year I don't think it was a great O-line last year, but it's one of the smaller problems you had. I think the defense was so bad that you just moved your attention elsewhere. I need to see more from the defense, and I think you're going to see more of them as the preseason goes along. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm definitely with that, because like you hear that, or you used to hear this term in college football, like, oh man, they're returning 80% of their production on offense. Like, well, what does that mean? Like, were they putting up 50 points a game, or were they putting up 15 points a game? Because if they were putting up 15 points a game, then who cares? Let's try to get some better players in here. But yeah, I mean, if you're bringing back more of the same and, screaming a continuity game, yeah, that's great. But like, are they going to be able to hold up in pass protection? Are they going to be able to open up run lanes? And we talked about this before when I was on the show on a full-time basis. Like, part of the problem with Joe Burrow taking sacks is his style of play. And it's not like, oh man, he's trying to extend plays and run around like he's Mike Vick or whatever, but he does hang on to the ball long time, looking for the home run play, looking for the big play. Instead of, Charlie check down, he's looking for the 15, 30-yard gain. And when you do those type of things, you run deeper routes, it takes longer for them to get open, and it gives the defensive line more time to get there. So it's a lot. It's a lot that goes into it.
Yep. And to Zach Taylor and the staff's credit, they are doing a lot more under center this season. All reports at the Bengals camp is that this is the most under center that they've seen Joe Burrow line up. We saw a little bit of it last night. That's going to take time to adjust to that as well. So maybe from the preseason perspective, we want him out there for a little bit because we want to try, we have him under center more. But even the sack he took last night, under center, dropped back, got sacked for a loss of 9. So still the same type of issues. He's holding on, even under center, he's dropping back, looking for the big play. That I do think that's Joe Burrow. People could say I criticize him too much or whatever. I really don't care. That is his biggest problem. Everything with him in life and on the field is flashy. There's nothing dull about Joe Burrow. We get that from his, lifestyle to the way he dresses to his girlfriend to everything. Everything is larger than life, right? Nothing wrong with that, but there's no in between with him. Everything is flashy. Everything is this, and that's how he is on the football field as well. Be boring. If Joe Burrow's boring on the football field, nobody stands a chance. Your team, my team, the Ravens. If Joe Burrow's boring, no one stands a chance. But he's an open target out there. And you're right. He takes an average offensive line and makes them probably look worse than they are at times because of that. And I think we saw a little of that last night, even under center, taking a 10-yard sack the way that he did.
Yeah, we're in a new era of football. We're transitioning back to, I won't say the 90s era of football, but like a lot of guys are going away from the spread and the shotgun like 95% of the time. You'll see this a ton with Ohio State this upcoming season. They're going to be under center a way more because it's easier for pass protection, easier to run the ball and things like that. Less gap shooting from linebackers and stuff like that makes it harder for them to diagnose what actually is coming. So you're seeing a transition back to that under center style of football from a lot of teams out there.
You mentioned the Buckeyes. Speaking of the Buckeyes, it was a Buckeye QB shootout last night. How about we saw Kyle McCord, technically Syracuse.
Once a Buckeye, Always a Buckeye.
No, but he was good in his second go round after the Buckeyes, so we'll claim him, right? If Kyle McCord ends up having a successful NFL career, we'll claim him, right? Like Tate Martell, we don't claim that. But Kyle McCord will claim if he does well. We saw him last night for Green Bay going up against your Steelers.
Yes, sir.
Kyle McCord dropped back 16 times, completing 12 of his pass attempts for 102 yards. No turnovers. Took a couple sacks, no touchdowns. Had a QB rating sitting about 91. We did see Tyrod Taylor, who's still just making his way around the league.
T-Mobile.
I saw little of Jordan Love and Kyron Drones last night. For a short stint, 3 sacks for 26 yards.
Man, I mean, nobody wants to hear my takes about Kyron Jones, but man, I thought he would have been a guy that would have transitioned into a tight end in the NFL, former quarterback from Virginia Tech. But Kyle McCord, I will say this, rewinding. I've watched 3 preseason NFL games. That is like an all-time high for me. And
it's great, isn't it?
Look at you smiling and happy. So I did watch the Hall of Fame game, which was actually entertaining a couple weeks ago. Obviously, I tapped into the Steelers and the Packers last night, namely because I wanted to see what my guy Will Howard was going to do with my beloved Pittsburgh Steelers. Haven't seen Will Howard play a game since they won the national championship a couple years back with the Buckeyes, and then obviously I was flipping back and forth with the Bengals game. So I watched 3 preseason games, man, and I've been entertained. I've been entertained by most of them.
I think the reason preseason's entertaining in the NFL is because college football is so massive. You recognize a lot of it.
Yeah.
I watch NBA preseason. You got me. I got it. Spring training for baseball, whatever. I like spring training baseball just because it's baseball. And it just, when I hear after an entire winter, when I start to hear spring training games on the radio, I feel warmer. I don't know why. It's just the sound of the game that makes me feel warmer because I know that, it's about to warm up. But either way, so Kyle McCord, 12 of 16, 102 yards last night for Green Bay. I don't know what his NFL future holds. That looked okay. No mistakes. He got a lot of time out there. I don't think you're going to see a lot of him in Green Bay, but who knows what's going to happen. But how about Will Howard? You mentioned him. He got some time last night, 9 pass attempts, completing 7 of those for 86 yards, about 9.5 yards per completion, sacked once, no touchdowns, no turnovers. But it was for your team, no Aaron Rodgers. But how about Drew Aller? Now, Drew Aller's an interesting name. I don't know what to make of this. Okay, he had a QB rating of 154 last night, 13 pass attempts, completing 10, about 12 yards of completion, 2 touchdowns. I get it, it's preseason, but it's going to be interesting to see what he develops into because the Steelers are in a position where you get one more year of Aaron Rodgers, and are you going to keep going the route of veteran quarterback, fill the gap better? We've seen it with Russell Wilson,
right.
Obviously, with Mason Rudolph a few years ago, who's still on the team and played last night. We've talked about could Baker Mayfield potentially be the next QB in Pittsburgh. Maybe the next QB in Pittsburgh's already on this roster. Maybe it's Drew Aller. Drew Aller last year, or 2 years ago, I'm sorry, many thought he was going to come out of the draft again. And Cleveland was being tied to Drew Aller.
He's from Cleveland.
But nobody's, you watch Penn State, you watch them there, like you just don't see it. There's something there, but you just don't see it. Then last year, the collapse, and we know what happened last year. The injury.
They fell off the cliff. He got hurt, and then he basically went to training mode. I watched. I was actually impressed by all 3 of the quarterbacks that played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They look competent. They look like they could do the quarterback things, and the roster spots, like we talked about in segment 1. We know Aaron Rodgers is making team. We know Drew Aller's making a team. You don't use a 3rd round pick and cut them unless they're a head case. So the battle, quote unquote, is for the backup position. Is it going to be Will Howard or is it going to be Mason Rudolph? Do you want to go
or Drew Aller? Right?
Yeah. It could be. But my biggest thing about it is preseason, and I'm glad they looked good. I'm glad they were able to execute. But everything was in your favor. It's the first preseason game. It's at home. You're not battling any elements or any situations where like, all right, there's going to be something held against you and things like that. So what is going on in practice where they're trying to make you look bad? Because guess what? Like the Green Bay Packers, they're out there running the most basic scheme known to mankind. They're running a cover 2 or man-to-man defense. There's no stunting by the defensive line. There's no nickel blitzes. It's vanilla. But in practice with the Pittsburgh Steelers or practice to whatever team out there, your defense has to do their thing as well. So what is he doing in practice? That's what I'm more concerned about. Reports are they're all right, and they're saying Will Howard's all right. The whole battle between Mason Rudolph has clearly been better than him in camp. They've been saying, hey, man, Drew Aller has been mid at best. So, like, that's what I'm going off of. I'm not going off of a bona fide scrimmage with a bunch of dudes that probably won't make the team and aren't allowed to confuse somebody. Like, they're running a basic coverage. He ran the receiver ran a slant. He hit him on the numbers. Great throw. And he took it to the house. Okay. Half of his yards was on that one play. You put it on the money. Congratulations. But guess what? That ain't real football, man. Because you're not going to see that defense in a real NFL game. But you will see NFL-style defenses in practice. So what are you doing in practice?
Other preseason games as we wrap up this part again. As far as week 1 is concerned for preseason of all things. Colts, Patriots, look, that ended in a tie. My gosh, it's kickball. We get the World Cup frenzy, and we're seeing ties now. We saw Gardner Minshew made a,
the stash
last night. Yeah, the stash is back. But like there was nothing, I didn't think there was anything from any of these other preseason games that I thought caught my attention.
It's over for Anthony Richardson. That's what you call it. His career is game, set, match.
Over.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap, kid.
145 yards last night and a pick. Nonetheless, games coming up tonight. There's more preseason action. Broncos, Falcons. Kevin Stefanski with the old former Browns coach. Buccaneers and Jets, and then Dolphins, Commanders. Tomorrow, curious your thoughts on this. Deshaun Watson. Okay, Cleveland has probably had the best 2 drafts the last 2 years. No quarterback to show for it, or maybe they do. Maybe they don't with Deshaun starting, right? But Deshaun Watson with the youthful roster that Cleveland has put together, they've drafted very well. A lot of impact players, from last year's draft. We'll see what they got. It looks on paper that they had a very good draft this year. All good positive reports coming out of camp with Boston and Concepcion and the 2 receivers that they've added. We'll see.
We'll see.
But the big question for Cleveland, and always has been and always will be until they get it right, is going to be about the quarterback position. Deshaun Watson back after missing all of last season and most of the season before that, of course, with the significant L injuries, the ACL, the MCL, all the L's. He's starting preseason game 1, and all the shows in Cleveland are like, are they telling you something? I mean, is it been Deshaun all along? Joe Burrow started. Some of the starters are starting. Is he the starter? Who knows? What do you make about Deshaun Watson getting the start in Cleveland for preseason game 1?
Look, man, if Deshaun Watson can't beat out Shedeur Sanders for the starting position at the quarterback spot for the Cleveland Browns, y'all in the world of trouble. Look, man, it is as simple as this. This man has been in the league for X amount of years. He knows it. He knows this league. And I don't care what anybody says, what any fan says about Shedeur Sanders. He was not good at football last year. I know, he beat your Steelers. No, the Cleveland Browns defense beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. He made like the good game that he had was against the Raiders. Everything else was Kaputsville. And I know he made the Pro Bowl and all that type of stuff. Yeah. Good luck with that. If Deshaun Watson can't beat out Shedeur, you have bigger problems. And also, if Deshaun Watson does stink up the joint, you can go to Shedeur Sanders midway through the season to rile up the fan base again. Because if you start with the kid and he stinks, going to Deshaun Watson isn't going to put a smile on anybody's faces. Not going to bring anybody through the turnstile to buy $10 hot dogs. But going to the young guy will.
Justin Kenner, Kev Nash, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM, live here on a Friday.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You push yourself in everything you do, scanning headlines for insights, keeping an eye on the market. Robinhood puts you in control of your money, all on one platform. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move.
I move mountains for a living. Literally.
That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket.